40% of the world's population spends their entire lives working for money. But have you ever stopped to ask what percentage of those people sleep while their money works for them? The answer will make you uncomfortable. Less than 4%. That means only 320 million out of 8 billion people have reached financial freedom. So what is it that those 320 million are doing that everyone else isn't? And more importantly, does that number discourage you or does it excite you? If it excites you, you're in the right place. In this video, you'll learn what financial freedom actually is and why most people completely misunderstand it, how to get on this path with real-world examples from around the globe, and most importantly, is financial freedom truly an achievable goal, or is it just another dream being sold to us? Stay with me for 50 minutes, because this video will either spark a mindset shift that sets you free, or at the very least, give you a clear answer to the question, why am I still working like a slave? The alarm goes off. Before you even open your eyes, what's the first thing that crosses your mind? Not, what do I want to do today? Most likely it's, can I cover the bills this month? That's not a personal flaw. That's the system working exactly as designed. Look, modern economies are largely built on one uncomfortable truth. When people are indebted and anxious, they work harder, ask fewer questions, and are easier to control. According to the Federal Reserve's 2023 data, 37% of Americans cannot cover an unexpected $400 expense. In the world's largest economy, $400. In Japan, there's a word called karoshi. It translates to death from overwork. Thousands of people every year lose their lives not chasing a dream, but simply grinding through a system. Germany, France, the UK, no matter where you look, the middle class is caught in the same trap. Earn, spend, and hope to retire someday. But the pension isn't enough, and the cycle goes on. The real question is, can you break out of this cycle? Yes, but first we need to understand something. Most people define financial freedom incorrectly. They think it means making a lot of money. Wrong. There are dozens of famous names in this world who earn $500,000 a year and end up with zero savings. Mike Tyson, 50 Cent, Nicolas Cage. At their peak, they had extraordinary income, but they had no financial freedom because the moment the income stops, their lives stop too. The real definition of financial freedom is this: being able to choose to work, not being forced to. Let me make this even clearer. Financial freedom is the point at which the passive income generated by your assets covers your cost of living. The classic formula: monthly passive income greater than monthly expenses. Once you reach this point, you wake up in the morning without the feeling that you have to do anything. If you're working, it's because you want to, not because you have no other choice. That feeling is indescribable. But here's the critical question: where does passive income come from? The answer to that question is the real road to financial freedom. There are two types of people in the world: those who convert their time into money, and those who convert their money into time. In the first group, you're selling your hours, your days, your labor. If you work, money comes. If you don't, it doesn't. When you're sick, no money. On vacation, no money. Asleep, no money. In the second group, a system you built once or an asset you acquired generates money even while you sleep. So what are these systems? Option 1, investment income, stocks, bonds, commodities. Warren Buffett bought shares in a small company at age 14. Today, Berkshire Hathaway distributes billions in dividends every year. When Buffett wakes up in the morning, the world has already been working for him. Option 2, real estate. As of 2024, there's a global rental economy worth $17 trillion. In Singapore, Canada, Brazil, Property owners earn rental income without lifting a finger. It requires upfront capital, of course, but it's not the only way. Option 3. Digital assets and content. A Brazilian YouTuber launched a channel in 2019. By 2024, that channel generates $80,000 a month while its owner sleeps. Content created once can generate income for years. Option 4. Business systems. McDonald's founder Ray Kroc once said, "I'm not in the burger business, I'm in the real estate business." McDonald's makes money from franchisees and land leases, not from flipping burgers. But some of you are thinking, that's for big players. I don't have the capital, the time, or the knowledge. Fair enough. Then let's get to the real point, because there's a truth here that most people completely miss. In the early 2010s, a quiet revolution began in America. It was called FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early. The people who started this movement weren't billionaires. They were ordinary engineers, teachers, and nurses. An engineer named Pete Adeny, known online as Mr. Money Mustache, retired at 30 on an average income by directing more than 50% of his earnings into investments. He didn't live lavishly, but he managed his needs intelligently. The core formula was simple. The faster you accumulate, the faster you become free. The mathematical foundation of the FIRE movement rests on the 4% rule. According to this rule, if you save 25 times your annual expenses, you can withdraw from those assets indefinitely, because a well-diversified portfolio historically grows at 7 to 8% per year. You withdraw 4%. The remaining growth keeps pace with inflation. If you spend $3,000 a month, that's $36,000 times 25 equals $900,000 you need to accumulate. People who hear this number react in two ways, either impossible or when can I start? Let me ask you something now. Does that number frighten you or excite you? Because the answer to that question determines whether you'll ever reach financial freedom. The biggest obstacle to financial freedom isn't a lack of capital, it's mindset. A 2022 Stanford University study revealed something fascinating. Among lower-income individuals, the instant gratification trap reduced their long-term savings capacity by up to 60%. In other words, the problem isn't money, it's the brain. Trap 1. Lifestyle inflation. When your salary goes up and your spending goes up with it, that's a common and dangerous cycle. In Japan, they call it the ratchet effect. Once you've leveled up, going back down feels impossible. Trap 2. Comparative consumption. Your neighbor's new car, your friend's vacation, those perfect life photos on social media. Robert Frank's expenditure cascades theory argues when people try to live above their income bracket, they go into debt and can never accumulate savings. Trap 3. I'm already too late. This is the most dangerous trap of all. You can start at 40. You can start at 50. Because financial freedom isn't a race, it's a direction. As Nobel Prize-winning economist Daniel Kahneman put it, people are twice as motivated to avoid losses as they are to pursue gains. So not spending, rather than actively saving, is actually a more powerful psychological motivator. But here's the truly surprising part. Financial freedom is not a number, it's not a threshold. Financial freedom is a transformation of identity. Let me give you a concrete example, a story from India. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, known as the Warren Buffett of India, started with 5,000 rupees in 1985, worth roughly $100 at the time. He built his entire investment philosophy on one principle. The market is always right, but patience is always rewarded. When he passed away in 2022, his net worth stood at $5.8 billion. But that's not the point. The point is this. In one of his final interviews, Jhunjhunwala said, "Financial freedom didn't give me money, it gave me time. And I spent that time doing what I love with the people I love. That is the true value of financial freedom. Dozens of studies around the world have examined the relationship between happiness and money, and they all arrive at the same conclusion. Below a certain threshold, money genuinely increases happiness, but above that threshold, it makes no difference. What makes the difference is how you use your time. Financial freedom releases you from being forced to work, so you end up doing the work you want to do, and that difference changes everything. In Norway, a mine worker retired. His name was Lars. He saved for years. He invested in the state pension fund. At 58, he retired and started writing because he'd always dreamed of being a writer. Today, he's the author of 3 books. In Kenya, a teacher redirected 20% of her monthly income every single month into small investment vehicles via the M-Pesa platform. 12 years later, she opened a school, not because she had to work, but because she wanted to do meaningful work. Financial freedom is not a dream, but it's not magic either. It's a system, and the only condition for entering that system will surprise you. The condition is this: make one small decision today. Not a large sum of capital, not a grand sacrifice. One small, consistent, conscious decision. Set aside 10% of your income. Cancel an unnecessary subscription. Read a book. Open an account. Write a plan. The road to financial freedom isn't built with one big, bold move. It's built with thousands of small, right decisions. Here's what we learned from this video. Financial freedom means being able to choose to work, not being forced to. Passive income systems are available to everyone, not just major investors. And the greatest obstacle isn't money, it's mindset. If this video made you think, made you question, gave you a spark of excitement, then I'm asking you to do one thing: subscribe and hit the notification bell, because every video on this channel is here to help us build the road to financial freedom together.
See you next video.